Clark! 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 You're running the wrong way! Mr. X with the Extreme Channel with another crazy Extreme collectible. Right here we have a custom, which means it's an unlicensed private commission. They only made 35 of these. Clark Kent transformation. Now, if you've been following the channel for some time, you know I've been waiting for him for a while. Obviously, the calamari virus slowed everything down, and there's actually a lot of Clark Kent transformations out there. Recently, I had this custom one that I reviewed. You can actually check out right here. But as you can see, it's completely different than this piece right here. You will see a few ties to one that Sideshow Collectibles actually recently teased. This guy right here, which also looks pretty cool. This one's been going on for about 2 years. I want to say I ordered this about 2 years ago, and as you can see, it is monstrous. It is huge. There's so much cool stuff going on in here. And when we get to concept, we'll talk about the elephant in the room. No, honey, not you. But today we're going to do a traditional review on this guy. We're going to do some video of close-ups of paint and sculpt. We're going to talk about the concept, the design. You'll watch the unboxing. But before we do all that, we're actually doing a statue giveaway. Check it out. We are going to hit 20,000 subscribers in 2020. To do that, we're giving away a statue every 2,500 subs. At 15,000 subs, the winner will get to choose between these two PCS Mortal Kombat statues. Make sure that you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Then stay tuned towards the end of this video to find out how to enter. This is officially, like I said, a custom 1/4 scale, even though I think it's a little bit bigger than that.
Hey, that's what she said.
We'll talk about that during design. Clark Kent transformation, I guess, is the best way to call it. One really cool thing about him, it's actually a comic take on him, and you'll see that when we do the close-ups of the paint and sculpt. But first, let's start with concept of this piece. And normally I do kind of a close-up and then go up and down, but as you see, it's kind of difficult to do that right now. So we'll just zoom in right here and I'll kind of talk about it. So he's on the streets of Metropolis, obviously. You can tell it's Metropolis because that's where Superman lives, plus it says it on the phone booth. There's Daily Planet papers all over. The street is partially damaged because he is flying out of the phone booth. And we'll talk about the huge elephant in a second. So the phone booth is damaged because he's flown out with so much force, so much power. You actually see it bent in half. You see glass shards flying everywhere. The phone on the inside is flying everywhere. His clothes are flying back. He's revealing his classic Superman emblem. The shards are broken. He's in the midst of transformation. His tie's flying off. His glasses are coming off. And the big controversial thing about this piece is Superman wouldn't be coming out of the phone booth. He would be going into the phone booth, which I completely agree. And a lot of people just can't wrap their head around the fact that this is the opposite of that, and it doesn't make sense. So if you truly wanted it accurate, we would have a statue where you'd mostly stare at Superman's ass running into the phone booth, so I can get past that personally. It's not a huge thing for me. But otherwise, I think the concept's fantastic. The phone booth is so often associated with Superman. It shows his power. This is an extremely dynamic, fluid, in-motion type of statue. I love that about it. I think the concept, if we're going to rank it as a 4 out of 5 or a rail. Like I said, I can't quite give it a perfect score because it is contradictory to what would be happening in real life, but I can get past that. I'm not a purist. However, there's some design things that I'm having a lot of trouble with. But first, let's start with the unboxing and assembly of this guy. Two boxes that actually arrived 2 different days, as it so happens, and it had the standard custom black foam like most customs do. 2 layers, one was the phone booth, and then the other one was the pieces of Superman and parts to the phone booth. Now, assembly for the most part was pretty easy. I actually put Clark Kent in first and realized that was wrong. The door here doesn't quite sit flush. It's bent a little, maybe because of the weather. But eventually I got it sitting up there, even though it's not 100% flush of what it's supposed to be. So hopefully there won't be any lean issues over time. I'll talk about that in a second. And then the pieces of glass, you couldn't really quite tell what goes in where. There were 4 different keys, so it was a trial by error. And then right here I was working on the phone booth, so you have to connect not only the phone but the wire. I did have a small breakage, that was my fault. You'll see it in about 2 seconds here. There I put the 2 pieces down. And it was kind of difficult to tell what went in where, but in the end I think it looks fine. So dimensions on this piece. Huge piece. It's actually too big in my opinion. 28 inches deep. It's a little over 18 inches wide. And the tallest point, which is the phone booth, is about 23 inches. Now I did place a few other quarter scale pieces right next to him. He's slightly larger, so I think he's about 10% larger than a 1/4 scale, and the rest of the statue just really makes it that big. That I'm not going to lose sleep over. A lot of license companies make bigger mistakes than that. One cool thing is he does have 3 different portraits. Let me show you. So first right here is a portrait without a hat on, and as you see, it's a very comic-like Superman. There's not a lot of realism in this, in my opinion. And then you also have that similar portrait with the hat on. And then, in my opinion, this is more of a take. You see a little bit of Christopher Reeve in this, kind of more of a realistic portrait. And his tie, as you saw in the design, I don't know where his tie goes. There's 2 versions of his tie. So this one right here, I kind of put at the neck. Here's a picture of that. And then the other one's more of a hook, and I can't get it around his neck. I can't figure that out, so I just placed it on his arm for now. But besides the size, which I think is a big issue, we'll talk about that in a second, the other major problem with this piece is this right here. Now there's no way this is meant to be like this, so I'm speculating that the factory said we have some extra glasses laying around, we'll use those, and they were sunglasses. So a horrible decision. It'll be interesting to see if we're stuck with this, or maybe I can find some other ones. But what's interesting is how they laced it through his fingers wasn't that smart either. Check a picture out right here. Kind of like the current controversy with Prime One Studios' Pennywise. Now let's talk about the size of this piece. First of all, you got the newspapers flying all over. One thing on these is they're all different headlines of different times in Superman's life. I don't like that. It doesn't tie well with the design or the concept for all that. And the problem with all these is they wanted to take up some space because there's so much open space here, which isn't needed. Now, I understand he's lunging out, but it could have stopped right here. Same thing on the sides. You have this extra space that we didn't need. And same thing you see on the back here. I think we could have shaved this off. While the phone booth would overhang a little bit, I can get past that. So too much wasted space on the bottom is a big issue. I love the phone booth, though. I love the fact it's cracking, that it's bent. The design of that is awesome. They even have the payphone on the inside. And for those of you that are out there, we used to not have cell phones. When we had to make a phone call, we had to carry around this thing called money. It was small coins, and we would actually insert them into a device that would help us talk to people. And that was a payphone. Speaking of which, nowadays, do you think Superman uses a cell phone? Put your opinion of that in the comments below. So design, a lot of disasters. This really kills me. The sunglasses and the huge base. So the design, I appreciate the ambition of this project. I'm tempted to give the design a 2 out of 5 because of those sunglasses. I mean, that is just really bothering me. You know what? It is a 2 out of 5 because of the sunglasses, the huge base, some of the assembly issues, the tie, don't know what's going on there. I think if we were able to get regular glasses, then it would go up to a 3. I also have some worries about the peg. As you saw, it wasn't incredibly long, so this could have leaning issues over time. I have another Clark Kent Superman that's flying like this, actually flying out. You can actually check out the review here, and that has some leaning issues as well. But now let's look at the paint and sculpt. And one of the things that was a little bit difficult for me, I actually filmed the paint and sculpt already, is I'm used to like realism on a statue. This is very, very comic based, and I think I say that 4 or 5 times. I'm actually filming this before I film the rest of the stuff you just watched, so you're truly getting my fresh thoughts. And starting at the bottom here, first look at the newspapers. I'm pretty sure these are decals on here, but it's kind of neat. I like that they added them. I don't like some of the conceptual stuff that I'll probably talk about, how there's different stories regarding that, but it's neat that they added these and they're kind of flowing and adding to the disruption. The concrete pavement, the street looks good. I think they did a nice job with the colors and the texture. I like even the subtle aspects down here, how here it's cracked right where he's stepping out. He's doing so much damage because he's rushing so fast. So I like that a lot, despite some of the design stuff I'll definitely talk about. Let's go to the phone booth. It has a really comic vibe to it, so to say. There's some slight texture on it. I like the colorization and the way it's bending. I think that was done smartly. I think the glass here, you know, the fact that it's shattered, it's a little more clouded. I think that makes sense. I also like, I think you saw in the front there, there's a little bit of the cracked glass right there. And along the sides here, the ones you saw keyed in. But even the black shading, the denting in it, just from its sheer power, you got a little Daily Planet sign. Metropolis phone booth. So it looks good. And then even on the inside, you see the phone itself and the phone booth, little details. As you saw in the design, I probably have that in wrong, but I like how that's also flying. This really is a statue in movement, which is what I like about it so much better than the other one I have. Very fluid. Now, Superman himself, very, like I said, this has a comic vibe to it, so I think there's some details missed in some of the realism, but some of it there's not. I like the asphalt right there, how he's stepping out. You see his white socks fully sculpted, very proper, Kent, well-to-do. No texture or even tread on his shoes, his dress shoes there. His suit pants look nice though. I think the way they're folding and wrapping around some of his anatomy makes some of his leg muscles overemphasized, but not really a big deal because it is such a unique pose. I wish they would have done something a little bit better with his belt, the belt buckle. I mean, this is Clark Kent in a well-to-do suit. I just don't think that matches. So while it's not a sculpt thing, more of a conceptual thing. And then there is no texture on the Superman suit, which traditionally you've seen a lot more. And like I said, it adds more of that comic feel to it. But you can see his 6-packs, and he's a little bit bulkier than you typically see kind of a slim Superman. I think I like that because it's different. But the flow of his clothes, how it's being ripped off, works really well. The white shirt, I like that a lot. The candy cane tie looks fine. I just don't know if I'm a fan of the colors they chose on that. You see I still have both of them on here from when I was looking at it. But you got plenty of folds in here. Kind of the fluidity of the statue. It looks good. See a little bit of his cape back there. Now here is definitely the biggest problem we talked about, the printing problem, where you can see gaps between his fingers and his awesome sunglasses. His skin color, I don't know if I'm digging it. I don't know why. He kind of looks like he has old decrepit hands, maybe a little bit too much, because his face, we're gonna look at that in a second, doesn't have that. I love this right here. It almost looks like the shirt is clumped up. That's done really well. Then very makeup-y, like he looks like he has a lot of blush. His hair, there could have been a little bit more detail. I do like how it's slicked back. His Superman slick right there, it's a little more overemphasized, big. Like I said, it looks like he has kind of mascara and blush on, but really gives you that comic vibe of Superman. The face sculpt looks good, and this is probably my least favorite of the three. Then we have the, like I said, this one's more of a Christopher Reeve. You see a little bit of that in there. Not much, but I do see that. Kind of a realistic take on it. And on this one, a lot of the same similar attributes. I think they could have done a little bit more fine sculpting with his eyebrows. Or this might have been the Christopher Reeve. I'm so confused. Too many Superman heads. But again, overemphasized jaw like Superman classically has. You can see all that red color of the blush in there. So it wouldn't be my particular choice, but you got to remember, like I said, this This statue is really, really comic based, and I think it accomplished that very well. So a lot of crazy things going on here. Nothing that stands out other than the problems with the hand that I would really say, hey, this is not good. A lot of cool stuff. Just, I guess, not what I'm used to. I'm used to more of a realistic take. Starting with the paint, I love the paint on this. Like, I think they did a fantastic job. It's really clean. The colors look great. The shading looks great. Not only on the base and the phone booth, but Clark himself. I think the paint's a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Really well done. Like I said, I particularly like how clean it is with the contrast of different colors. The sculpt I like quite a bit, other than the issues with that right hand. Again, whether it's the base or the suit. The face is leaving a little lacking for me because of the lack of realism. So maybe if you're a true comic collector, you appreciate it even more. But I still think the sculpt's a 3 out of 5 on this piece. It's not bad at all, and people often ask me, why is a 3 out of 5 not bad? Because we pay a lot of money for these pieces, and we expect them to be good, which takes us into value. Look at that segue. So value on this piece, he was $950. Shipping was a couple hundred. I think $200 or $300 by sea, which isn't bad this time, which isn't that bad in these times at all. As you saw, 2 big boxes. This is a very, very heavy piece. So I think the value, $1,200 for a really unique piece. Another quarter scale Superman, I think Sideshows is half this price, but this is really rare. And if you're a huge Superman collector, you know I'm talking to you, Stuart, that this is almost a must-have piece. So I think getting your money back for this piece won't be a problem. Honestly, I'm going to try and figure something out with the glasses here. I think they will come out of his hand and I can get some doll glasses and put it in there, or I don't know, maybe the factory will send some. But I think the value's okay. It's a 3 out of 5. It's very hard to justify, but this is a very unique, huge piece, and I don't think you're going to see anything like this. I don't think a license company is going to be that ambitious. So is this an X Factor piece? That's a tough one. I think the displayability of this is very, very difficult. It takes up so much room for a 1/4 scale piece. A lot of times, the larger the piece, the more likely it's going to be an X Factor. It's not always about size, despite what my wife says, but this really, really can be, and it kind of hurts it in a way. So I think it's not an X statue. It's not a 5 out of 5. Those sunglasses bother me so much. I do like it a lot more than I thought I would, so I will definitely throw that in there. I thought at most it's going to be a 3. I'm tempted to put it at a 4 out of 5 overall, but in the end, I still think it's a 3 out of 5. I tend to rank it a little bit lower. I do appreciate the dynamic aspect. This is a huge project, like I said, never been done before. The more I like at it, the more I like it even more. If I was in a different mood, it very well could have been a 4 out of 5 statue, but today we're going to stick with a 3 out of 5. Let me know where you would have ranked it. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Let me know that in the comments, because entering a comment actually enters you in to win that statue. Check it out. To win one of these Mortal Kombat statues, all you have to do is comment on a video. At 15,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick a random video and pick a random comment. That person will win the prize. They can choose between these 2 pieces. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate you tuning in. Excited to have this piece. Check out some of these other custom statue reviews in this playlist. Otherwise, hit that Mr. X logo to subscribe and hit that bell notification, because tons of cool stuff coming up. Take care.